On this episode of ResiWeek, Best Buy has 1 million total tech support clients. Technology is on display at IBS, and the Powerhouse Alliance adds 5 new vendors. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 161, Paint with Sound.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Peerless AV, driving technology through innovation.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt T. Scott for AVNation.tv, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Rich Fergosa, the one and only Uncle Richie. He is the principal and founder of Fergosa Design. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Mellow West Coast greetings. I think I did the trifecta during the past 7 days. So I think we got programming, AV Week, and wrapping it up with Resi Week. So.
We're hitting all three, man. It's just out the gate. Then we have our newbie for today, Louis Frank. He is the chief technologist at LED Systems. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, sir. Thank you so much, man. It's a blast.
Hey, thanks so much for being here. I was trying to think back to when you and I first met for the first time, and I think you're one of the only people I can say that I met for the first time on a boat.
That's right. It was that the CE and CI Summit up in Potomac.
Yep.
God, that was crazy.
That was a crazy show. And last but not least, we have Dennis Holzer. He is the executive director of Powerhouse Alliance. How are you, my friend?
I can't complain. Great to be back.
Thank you all for being here. Gentlemen, let's kick this right off with a story that comes to us from CE Pro and the one and only Jason Knott. Best Buy has hit 1 million subscribers for the $199 total tech support program. The biggest benefit of this story and the biggest joy of this story for me is really the graphic. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It's pretty awesome. But gentlemen, I want to jump right into this story because this is something that we covered when they launched. We've talked about it, in bits and pieces as, they've rolled this program out. And I don't want to say that I didn't think they could do it. I'm just surprised that it's grown to the size it has. Richie, I want to start with you. A 1-year membership with unlimited tech support for $200. Obviously, they've seen significant support of this. They've got over 1 million subscribers now. That's a massive number for their bottom line. How in the world do we compete with this?
Well, I think this goes into the whole need for differentiation, and we've had a lot of talk with other people, and we've had shows about the DIY and the do it with me movement and everybody else. And I think that Best Buy is they're already selling the product. They're going to be selling on a price-based basis. They're still a brick and mortar location. They also sell a heck of a lot of those service plans. You buy a camera, you get a 3-year service plan. I mean, they're definitely generating income in different ways when they get somebody in the store. And I don't know if it's a matter of if we should compete with that. I'm perfectly content with the product mix that they're getting that support for becomes a non-support issue. Because again, your support isn't rolling a truck, somebody sitting down and making sure that all of your connectors are set and your signal is good. And I mean, support is a bit of a vague term in terms of what we offer in our industry as opposed to what a retailer is providing. And so it's really no different than Dell offers support in some instances, or Cisco offers support in some instances. There's going to be a line to call in, and there will be somebody who is telecommuted to in an office who reads off the manual and double checks and says, okay, have you rebooted the unit, and takes you through the process. And for the end user, a lot of times that's actually, a huge amount of just the work that they need done. They just need somebody who isn't sitting there afraid that they're going to break their TV or break their cell phone, or we have that with end users all the time, is that there's a nervousness. There's this tech this tech allergic reaction that occurs if something acts weird. So I think that Best Buy's approach, in fact, allows for an opportunity for a value-added sell from an integrator to be able to say, okay, great, that's the first level, which is this is something kind of basic, but beyond that, they're going to tell you to bring it in store. So now here becomes the question, what value does that have for you as opposed to we provide the service call out to you? So it's like anything else. I think it's a potential lead in to be able to differentiate yourself with your service programs. But to try to compete with it at that level, you can't, because what I think integrators view as the quality of service that they would provide their end user is not necessarily the same that what a retailer thinks that they're providing, from a minimum threshold standpoint.
Very good. Lewis, kind of to expand on what Richie was talking about, can you as an integrator take this and essentially roll this into part of your service offerings and position yourself properly so that you can say to your clients, hey, if you want really basic tech support that is a cost savings over what we normally provide, our advanced tech support, go down this road. And then for everything that's advanced or system-based or stuff that makes you need to dig into the rack, call us.
Well, I did a deep dive on the actual total tech support offering. And for $199 a month, you get 24/7 online support for your computers and some tablets. You get in-store support for your computers, your connected car, and your tablets, and then your in-home services it's additional $50 per service. So to me, it looks like the $199 is just a license. And with the type of systems that we're putting in right now, with the remote access and remote support with multiple manufacturers out there, I'm charging $250 a license per customer right now, and then offering that same type of remote service 24/7 because we're getting notifications, we're getting emails, we're getting text messages when signals drop, RS-232 codes don't perform, when power drops, and we're sort of doing it right now, not to the tune of $199 million, but at the same time, we go behind Best Buy all the time, and that $199 yearly membership, it's not the fix all. There's a lot of customization and things like that as the integrator, we have to do above and beyond just phone service.
Very good. Dennis, I kind of wanted to shift the conversation slightly. And in the latter half of the article, he gets into the Best Buy outlook, which is digital health, and that they're betting big on the combination of smart home and digital health. Is this something, because CD as an organization has talked about this for a while, the industry has talked about this for quite a while. Is this something where Best Buy is poised because of their national platform to be able to beat the traditional, what we would call a CEDIA channel into that market?
Absolutely. I mean, Best Buy obviously is a retail store, and their goal is to get you in the store. And they have, if you've been in a Best Buy store lately, they've made some changes that I just went the other week just to get some software for my computer, my yearly Kaspersky, whatever, to make sure I don't catch a virus. I literally had to walk almost the whole store till I could find, I knew where computers were. I couldn't find software. And, the one thing that they do is they want to get you in and they want to hold on to you. That's what this $199 fee does. It is something that they can stay in front of the customer. They use it as something for communication to their customer. And you can bet that customer who is enrolled in that $199 is getting an email or a card or a letter once a month, and I know this factually, so that it also not only talks about, hey, you're part of our service agreement, but, hey, did you know we also have? And you're right, that's an advance of what some of our guys are doing. And the only one thing I wanted to add to the other guys is that how many, and I fight this all the time with our own installers, how many times do they run trucks to fix something and it's free? You know, a customer had a power outage, or, you know, the customer, this will come as a surprise, the cable and the TV are out of sync when you're turning off a remote. And how many of our guys, just for customer service, run that truck anyways? So for the $199, and, you know, those guys were right, that's merely just a communication platform. You know, that doesn't include really rolling a truck to fix. And I guarantee you when they roll that truck, they find stuff and it costs money.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next story of the day. This comes to us from Residential Tech Today. Smart elevators, connected baths, and more generate buzz for home builders at the recent International Builder Show in Las Vegas. If you don't know about that show, you probably should, because your contractors, your builders, honestly, almost all of your trades and your designers are at this show. A couple of things that were highlighted in this article were smart elevators, the expanse of smart kitchen and bath, specifically from Kohler, as well as a lot of smart water protection, smart locks, and things such as that nature. The one thing that dramatically stood out to me was the smart electrical, because Leviton finally has brought their new load center, which essentially offers true connected breakers, which means you can actually start to control those loads. So, Louis, I wanted to start with you on this one. This has been a mixture of, and not just this article, but everything I've read that came out of IBS and KBIS. This has been a mixture of incredibly niche products as well as a lot of mainstream, not necessarily a lot of, you know, what we would traditionally call products and solutions that are within our purview. Now, I know Control4 had a tiny build there, and they were showing a lot of connected products and what we actually do. But on a whole, CEDIA had a booth there as well. This is still a lot of mainstream technology stuff. Is this something that you need to pay attention to? Is this something that we as integrators should be attending and trying to determine what's there and what we need to see that our clients or the contractors and builders that we work with are starting to see?
Yeah. At the same time, it's not, like you said, as mainstream. From a network perspective, since we as integrators we own the network no matter who's in the place. If there's a network connectivity and our clients are asking, like the Kohler voice activation integrating with Amazon Alexa, it's scary to death, but you got to touch it. You got to get your hands on it, and you got to at least understand what the heck is going on. Our clients right now some of them do the shopping online, and they have the barcode readers for the refrigerators. We're integrating automatic shopping lists and delivery services currently right now, creating recipes straight. So it's all network based. And yeah, I don't know how, like you said, how mainstream it's going to be. But if it's the network, we've got to plan for it. We've got to protect it.
Very good. Dennis, just to continue to pull that mainstream thread, is this something where, because we saw it a lot with a lot of the, intro smart lighting systems. There was the ultra high end, the Homeworks, the Raw, the panel based systems that, Lutron, Control4, Crestron, everybody has. And then there was all this smart home generic stuff almost, that when it came to actually clients looking for it, wanting it installed, they were not coming to us. They weren't coming to our industry. They were going to their electricians or going to their alarm guys. Does the mainstream level of the majority of these products, does that give us an opportunity to go in there and promote it, work with people, or does it honestly just keep kind of pushing us out?
I think we need, for the strength of what we do, we've got to continue significantly thinking out of the box. And, the days of just a home theater, or obviously now you add in the network system, I think it's vital for our existence and more than our existence, our well-being, that we understand these products, because in some way, most of our installers are going to be pushed into it anyways. As Lewis said, if it's on the system, we're going to get a call. And I can tell you personally, I'm working very hard with my own members that we're looking way outside the box. I just brought in a company that through the system, through your network, something leaks in your house, it sends a signal and shuts down your water. And I think as the builders start to, I tongue-in-cheek say, accept our business, it's more business we're going to be able to get to from these people. And frankly, it'll allow us to grow and to hire people who can specialize in these different aspects that are added onto the system. I don't agree with having to, I went to the Kohler booth, for example, at CES, and it wasn't really thrilling to me to be able to go to your phone and turn on your bathtub and make sure the water is, 72 degrees when you get into the bathtub, or that your toilet seat is warm. Those weren't of great interest to me, but some of these other things I think are valuable for our existence going forward.
Obviously, you don't live in Canada. I would take that in a second. Because sometimes it's cold, man. Uncle Richie, I have no idea how I'm segueing that one. No clue. Uncle Richie, this was something that kind of came to me a little bit when I was watching the news coverage rolling in from KBIS and from IBS. Is this an event? Is this a show? We've talked for years that when you're walking around CEDIA, if you've got a client who's spending a fortune, you should bring that individual with you occasionally to get firsthand, come see this stuff, see it, especially if you don't have the showroom where you can do that. Is this something where if you're working with builders and contractors and designers, that you as an HTP should be attending IBS with them and giving them a guided tour of, hey, this is the technology that's available, that's right within your channel?
I think that if you have the ability to meet with the same people there, absolutely. A guide, there's nothing that beats a guided tour, if just from a relationship standpoint. As somebody who has had to custom program a tub to be filled from a phone, and not only to be filled, but we had to have 2 tub units because it had to fill faster, because the single tub fill wasn't fast enough, as well as being able to measure the seat temperature. It has been done. It was done in, I did this in 2004, I think.
Wow.
But it's been out there, and the difference, I guess, is that when it was done before, it was a one-off. It was absolutely something that the most eccentric, it is the saying that somebody with, if you've got more money than brains, that when we were dealing with the more money, the niche stuff is the more money than brains department, right? You just gotta, let's just do it to say we can, it's as the gold-plated giraffe. I have many things. The miniature giraffe, right? The little pygmy giraffe. But yeah, it's like having a pygmy giraffe, right? Why do you have one? Because I can. That's what this show can be about. It's because you can. The difference now is that they are trying to find inroads to a larger group of end users. So, I love stuff like this. I mean, I totally geek out over it because that's what makes automation fun. That's what enhances lifestyle choices. Do you use it all the time? Not necessarily, but if you integrate it well, it increases the enjoyment of your residents and how you use it and how your technology comes together. So for integrators, absolutely, this is real world stuff. I mean, we have all the time when dealing with integrators. You know, they keep going back and forth about they're fighting with maybe the end user with their budget over a $600 speaker over a $1,600 speaker, and that becomes a huge fight, and the client doesn't necessarily see the value in that. But you start talking about fixtures, you start talking about elements in a bathroom or a kitchen or a bedroom. These are highly prized items that clients will place value on, and they'll place a premium value on it. And if that becomes an inroad for you to be able to increase your budget and bring all the other tools to tie it together, that's a less of an uphill fight than, you know, again, trying to sell them on a $2,500 speaker. And like Dennis was saying, is those old models of how you generated your profit centers, you've got to, you know, because again, for $199, Best Buy will give you a service option for a bunch of stuff, right? You've got to start looking at different ways to expand. And as custom guys, you know, working like a contractor, working like a tradesman, you know, there's always this feeling. I deal with this with integrators all the time. They don't want to admit that they're tradespeople. They don't want to admit that they're in the construction industry. And it just boggles my mind, because you are a legitimate part of the construction industry. You're not necessarily an artist doing your thing with audio and video. It's like, yeah, that's cool stuff, but your artistry, you still got to get paid, you know, and you've got to be a business. Yeah, you know, I'm paid to astound. Yes. Yes, I'm the Doug Henning of AV.
That's fantastic.
And on point with what you're saying, Richard, with the International Builder Show and all the stuff going with home health and everything else coming about, being at that show, guiding these builders and architects and designers on the technology that we can offer and differentiate ourselves as well as differentiate them, people are going to buy into that when you're talking about automating kitchens and baths and temperatures and water safety and alarms and everything. It's a show we should be at, and maybe even exhibiting. I know they got a CEDIA area at the IBS. Should be bigger.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, really quickly, we are going to jump over and hit our last story of the day. This comes to us from Residential Systems. Powerhouse Alliance expands their product lineup with 5 new vendors. If you haven't caught this, Powerhouse Alliance has added a couple new vendors, including Intelligent Network Solutions, Mantle Mount, RTI, TechLogic, and Leak Smart, which Dennis kind of alluded to earlier. So, Dennis, I'm going to start right off with you because that kind of makes the most sense. When you guys look at expanding your offerings, are you expanding to fill a void? Are you expanding to, you know, maintain your current base? Or are you just expanding to honestly expand and just continue to grow?
We are doing it to fill a void. We are doing it to expand not only our horizons, but our, you know, a lot of our integrators can't go to a lot of these shows. And so they truly depend on us to be able to keep expanding what we do. I can tell you we don't do the last expand to expand. But, you know, going backwards, what we are trying to do is we have TV, home theater down pat and networking down pat, but this is becoming a much bigger industry. The capabilities are there for our integrators, and sometimes we got to get behind them and push them uphill that they got to start thinking outside the box. And so one of the things we do is not only we keep adding lines, and we typically add about 5 lines a year, because by the time we get the product in, we train our dealer, we train ourselves, and we train our dealers. You know, that just doesn't happen overnight. But the other thing we try to do is that kind of mentions on what you just said is we're building our showrooms now so that our integrators can bring their customers to our locations to see some of these products, because it's not reasonable. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and yeah, it's cold here too today. It's not reasonable for one of our installers, other than, some certainly can, but it wouldn't be reasonable to go to Las Vegas to, a builder show, or Texas for a builder show, just to see what kind of sink we're going to put in their bathroom, and that it has all these Bluetooth controls. So, we're starting to work this in addition to adding lines, being able to put these on display so we can help our integrators expand what they do.
Very good. Uncle Richie, when a distribution house adds more lines, is this something that most integrators who purchase from them, is it something that they're paying attention to? Is it something that they don't really notice till they get a communique from the company? How did they go about, staying on top of that kind of thing?
Well, I think it depends on your relationship. I mean, one of the great things about Powerhouse, I think Powerhouse does a very good job about outreach and making sure that it doesn't get lost in the sea of 200 emails. And so when something comes out, it is relevant. It isn't just, we've sold this list to, get your house refinanced, and also, and toe powder. I mean, it's like there's an actual reason when correspondence comes down. And I think that as you have a relationship with any of them, Powerhouse is an example, you're clicking on the webpage and checking and valuing. And there is a lot about vetted sources. That's a huge thing right there, is that there's been some time spent at least flattening that curve in terms of all of the products out there. I mean, I hadn't read about LeakSmart before until right now. I'd reading up on it. It's a great product. It's an advancement over some of the other stuff that's there. And it's a product that is intended to work with third-party controls as well with app, not in either or. And a lot of times when you see these products initially coming out that are internet enabled, or they're IoT devices, they're not necessarily talking third-party. They're saying, okay, we've got a standalone app or a PC or something like that, or maybe HomeKit compatible. But to be able to look at these items and say, yeah, we're doing third party. That is something that I think is relevant and to look through, because again, it is tailored for the specific business model that custom integrators are out there. So, I'm trust me with, I get hundreds of emails a day and from distributors and you name it. And so, it definitely does help when it does come out from a credible and trusted source. I know that it's going to rise above the white noise.
Very good. Louis, I want to end with you on this and kind of give you the last word. As an integrator who maybe has been purchasing some of these products from a competitor because Powerhouse didn't have them, what's involved in making that decision now that Powerhouse has them to start purchasing from them? And for products that you're unaware of, what drives you to bring something in and test it?
First of all, is it the right solution for our clients? Secondly, if I can write one PO and create some efficiencies on the financial side, as well as the shipping and the receiving side, it surely does take a lot of the headache running the business by. Plus, on the integrating side, some of these parts or these 5 new lines they brought in, they work, and we use them before. And if Powerhouse or the distributor is going to keep stock and allow us to pick up or ship and receive at any given time, it sure makes it easier to do business. So.
Very good. Very good. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for joining us. Uncle Richie, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Fregosa Design, where can they do that?
Well, you can find us on our website, fregosadesign.com. Probably the best place is one of the great places is Twitter @rfregosa. But most importantly, please come check us at AVNation.tv here on ResiWeek, AV Week. We have a custom integration programming show called The State of Control with my good friend Steve Greenblatt. And tons of other shows that are great listening and viewing, informative items. I'm a little tired today.
That was fantastic. That was your best elevator speech I've heard in a long time. Louis, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you had a good time and you'll be back. If people want to connect with you, learn more about LED systems, where can they do that?
Our website, ledsystemsllc.com. I'm all over the place at CEDIA, Infocom, CES. So grab me, pull me over, ask a question, just have a beer. We'll figure out the right answer.
Excellent. Thank you again. Dennis, as always, fantastic to have you on. If people want to connect with you, learn more about Powerhouse Alliance, where can they do that?
Easiest thing is www.powerhousealliance.com. Shows a map wherever you're located. You can see where your distributor is and you get in contact with them. If you want to get to me directly, real easy, D Holzer, HOLZER at powerhousealliance.com. I'm happy to respond. And as always, Matt, a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here. Again, for myself, if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me at Matt D. Scott on Twitter and every other social platform. But more importantly, please stop by AVNation.tv where you'll find this show, as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take out a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you support them as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.